Assassin's Creed Odyssey is just around the corner, and while it may feel super familiar at first glance, there's actually a lot of changes that may have flown under your radar that you should definitely know about before jumping in. So here's 15 things you need to know about Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Starting off at number 15, naval battles are back in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and because the map region is predominantly islands and water, the game gets a huge jump from the naval sections in Origins. According to hands-on previews, having a ship and full freedom is back, and speeding up and slowing down and steering all feel familiar to Assassin's Creed Black Flag ship stuff, which is my personal favorite. Only this time, instead of buying ammo to arm up, combat is actually centered around, similar to melee combat, building up adrenaline meters, allowing you access to crazier attacks like flaming arrows and ramming your ship. There's more of an emphasis on weak spots, and from the looks of it, combat looks fast and exciting. Next at number 14, Assassin's Creed Odyssey will feature combat scenarios called Conquest battles. These battle scenarios are massive 150 versus 150 soldier battles set between the Peloponnesian War between Athens and Sparta. These games will see you and your side trying to cut down enough of the opposition to bring on even more challenging enemy captains into play, who you will also have to then kill. There's no word on how many or how often these types of battles will occur, only that they aren't segmented into their own separate mode and that the player will engage in them organically or as the story progression calls for. Next at number 13, believe it or not, with the release of the game right around the corner, we still don't know too much about the modern day element the game is confirmed to include. What we do know is that it continues where Origins left off, with playable character Layla Hassan. Apparently now we're going to get more answers as to what exactly she's doing, as well as some character development too. There are optional dialogue choices for this mode, and little moments, and you can spend as little or as much time in that mode, because some people just still aren't into the modern day aspects of these games. I am curious to see where it goes, if anywhere, but that's all we got. Moving on to number 12, Assassin's Creed Origins DLC leaned into supernatural elements for the first time, and Odyssey is taking it further with some fantasy elements in the main story. This may not really sound like a big deal, but it is a noticeable difference for a series that has been grounded in somewhat realism. I mean, sort of, because of all that weird stuff, but, besides all the sci-fi stuff. Having fantasy elements to encounter in the game like Medusa here strike a significantly different tone for this Assassin's Creed game. Apparently, they have lore explanations with like a promo video detailing that they're possibly leftover mistakes from the sci-fi First Civilization from the game's stories. I just like it because it really makes it so you don't know what kind of enemies to expect along the way. But at number 11, it's worth noting for the first time, Assassin's Creed players are going to have full options in customizing the game's HUD. Instead of simply just being able to turn the whole HUD on and off, change some sizes here and there, Odyssey will let players tweak pretty much every aspect. It's impressive. You'll be able to switch off individual things like seeing damage counters in fights, player health meters, enemy proximity, compass waypoints, stuff like that. It's cool to see that level of customization, especially given how many players like to just remove parts of the HUD for a more immersive experience. Now you'll be able to do literally whatever you want. Now getting into the meat of it at number 10, as you probably heard by now, AC Odyssey is looking to go even further than Origins and planting its feet into full-on RPG stuff. Developers have gone on record saying how Origin from Odyssey makes the final transition into an Assassin's Creed 2.0, and in their words, can truly be called an RPG in the sense that everything has meaning. Everything in the game, from the side quests to the diversions, is supposed to make you feel like you're stepping into the shoes of an actual mercenary. Whether or not it'll actually feel that way, I don't know. But there's also the RPG-ness thanks to an expansion of character building and skill trees. You're still leveling up and dumping points into Hunter, Warrior, or Assassin skill trees, but there are far more options to spend points on, and many have direct in-game abilities and secondary uses. Think of a new area effect stun attack, the ability to charge your weapon, or move faster for a small period of time. The idea for leveling up systems here was really just more of everything. The gear even has a deeper layer of stat boost for specific uses. There's also a new notoriety system that penalizes you for being bad and killing civilians and stuff, as well as a Peloponnesian War system that allows you to strengthen or weaken areas to turn the tides of the war, and apparently that'll give you different perks and even affect the story. Now that all sounds like a lot, but we really have to wait until the game releases to see how much of this stuff makes a difference. But next at number 9, story and choices is another area where big changes were made to make the game feel RPG-ish. We already talked about how the gear works and how the skill tree works, but one major addition to Odyssey in the first time for an Assassin's Creed game are dialogue choices. You now have a say in the story and have a say in shaping what kind of characters Alexios and Cassandra are. You can lie, romance, or even decide to outright attack someone you're speaking to. Each one of these will have some sort of effect on the story. It's not just big decisions either. There will be some smaller scale decisions that will have less of an impact, and some choices are you just deciding how much of a relationship you want to build with certain characters. A creative director did go on record saying that Odyssey was inspired by a Greek tragedy, but just didn't specify which one exactly. So just like with Origins, storytelling seems like it's going to be front and center here. Moving on to number 8, I know we keep comparing it, but just like Assassin's Creed Origins, Odyssey will be getting a new Game Plus mode. Also similar to Origins, it won't be launching with the final release, but instead it'll be added a little later on. But seeing that Odyssey is such a large game and it's going to take you a really long time to beat anyway, maybe by the time you actually finish it, new Game Plus mode will be ready to go. These modes are just great, honestly. We're always happy to have them. But next at number 7, Discovery Tour mode will be making a return to the series, although not immediately. This combat-free, exploration-focused mode will be a free update coming at an unspecified time after release. Now, Origins saw its free Discovery Tour update in February, and it allowed players to just explore the game's world and take guided tours narrated by experts in the field and just learn. It was really cool. The update was free, but it was also offered as a $20 download for standalone if you just wanted the educational experience. We don't know if Odyssey is going to do that as well, but you should expect it. At number 6, speaking of modes, Odyssey will feature both exploration mode and guided mode just like Origins. Guided mode is your traditional Assassin's Creed experience where you have the map that's filled with markers, and when you take on a new quest, you get a marker that guides you right there on your map. Then we have exploration mode, which leaves you, the player, without any map markers, and it's just up to you to find out where you're going. You have to investigate and explore the world to actually find out where exactly you have to go. Now, although there is a hint system in place where NPCs will give you hints and clues as to where exactly to go, this just does seem super intimidating since the world will be so big, but this is exactly how some people want to play open world games, just organic exploration. So the freedom to play however you want is just really cool. Now at number 5, in some surprise news, it turns out that Assassin's Creed Origins is coming to the Nintendo Switch. Well, kinda. First off, it's only coming out in Japan, and it's actually going to be streamed on the Switch, very similarly to the Japanese-only Resident Evil 7 Switch port. There's been no word on whether or not this means it's going to be making its way stateside or any other parts of the world, but a Ubisoft spokesperson did tell GameSpot, at the moment, this is a limited release for the Japanese market. It'd be nice to play it on the go, even if it wouldn't be perfect, but still. Now at number 4, Assassin's Creed Odyssey will feature the largest map of any game in the series to date. The map is said to cover 130 square kilometers, which is a whole 62% bigger than the map of last year's game, which is absolutely insane. It's worth noting that in looking at a shot of the map coming out of the Gamescom demo, a lot of that map is covered by water, but that doesn't mean it's a big waste of space. It just means that there will be a lot more emphasis on ship exploration, as was the case with AC4 Black Flag, which is cool. The increased map size and distance between locations can definitely set things up for a much grander and epic experience if done right, so we're gonna pay attention. Now coming down to number 3, believe it or not, combat in the game was actually influenced by ancient Greek art. Moves in the game are often modeled after the striking and heroic poses that heroes had on, for example, like pottery art from ancient Greece. Gameplay-wise though, it shares a lot of similarities to Origins, but the big new addition is a strong kick that is essentially the big This Is Sparta kick from 300, but it seems useful enough. You can also still unlock and build up the special move with pulling the left and right triggers, but this time it's with the Spear of Leonidas, an ancient powerful sidearm weapon that was handed down to you. And it has magical Piece of Eden properties? That might make things interesting. Also, I'm just really excited about the fact that bows now have their own special abilities like calling down a rain of arrows. Mechanically, combat will be familiar, but thanks to the new upgrade system abilities, it should freshen things up a fair amount. Now down to number 2, the game launches soon, but if Ubisoft has its way, you'll be playing it long after due to an extensive schedule of post-launch content. The first story-based post-launch content release that you get with the Season Pass comes in December with Legacy of the First Blade, and it focuses on the first person in the AC canon to use the hidden blade. Then in spring 2019, we get The Fate of Atlantis, a new story arc where you face off against mythical creatures and you basically discover Atlantis. I don't know. Each story arc, though, is said to launch as a series of episodic adventures, with new episodes releasing every 6 weeks. Season Pass holders also get the remastered versions of Assassin's Creed 3, complete with all that game's post-launch content, as well as Assassin's Creed Liberation Remastered. Outside of the Season Pass, everyone will have access to some free episodic stories with The Lost Tales of Greece, which are going to be releasing regularly between content packs, which is nice. Free content is always good. But finally, at number 1, let's wrap up with some housekeeping. AC Odyssey releases on Xbox One, PS4, and PC on October 5th. As expected, there are multiple editions that you're able to buy, seeing how this is a Ubisoft game. Of course, you have your standard edition, then you have your deluxe edition that comes with 2 sets of gear, XP boosts, and stuff like that. Then there's the gold edition that has all that stuff, plus the season pass, and that actually drops on October 2nd. That's 3 days before the actual release. It also has a steelbook and a bonus mission. Then we have the $160 Spartan edition that has a gold and a deluxe edition, plus like a lithograph, a physical map, and the soundtrack, and a really cool statue. Then at $220, we have the Pantheon edition, which comes with all that stuff, except it has a bigger, more badass statue. So there are a ton of different ways to buy and play this game. Kind of ridiculous, but hey, you do you. Spend however you want, I don't know. Regardless, we are still very much looking forward to this game as fans of the series, so we want to hear from you guys down in the comments what you're looking forward to the most from Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Did you like Origins? What do you think is changing here? Do you think it's enough? Will you be picking it up? I don't know. Let's talk about this stuff down in the comments. Now, if you did enjoy this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps us out. We really appreciate it. But if you're new too, you should consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell because we put out videos every single day. But as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.